Hinduism is a crazy big religion. Hinduism has so many amazing pieces of literature, and one of the most popular ones is the Gita. The Gita is by far one of the most popular stories in the world. Throughout the Gita, there's many different stanzas that people use in order to learn from. For me, there's one particular stanza that stood out. The stanza goes as, "Disciplining himself, his mind controlled, a man of discipline finds peace, the pure calm that exists in me." I really love this stanza because the theme can be shortened down to one phrase: self-discipline. I love this theme of self-discipline, mental fortitude, resilience, because it's found everywhere in our lives. The stanza states that a man of discipline is able to find peace. Finding peace can be generalized to more as finding true happiness in your life. I'll be showing 4 different examples in this video. I'll be showcasing how self-discipline can be seen in an image, a story, a piece of pop culture, and a news article. This photo right here is a sculpture made from a 3D printer. This photo relates to the theme of self-discipline because it shows how self-discipline and determination can pay off big. To take this photo a bit more literally, we see how this person is sculpting away and chiseling at what seems to be a morbidly obese body, and seemingly leaving behind a more healthy and chiseled body. And if you were to look at it literally, you could see how self-discipline plays in that, because it takes a lot of self-discipline to change your body. But to try to generalize it and apply it to more than just that, we can see the before and after, the before being the bottom part and the after being the top part. We can see how drastic of a change there is. And then that person is using those tools, and those tools can be symbolized as self-discipline, hard work, consistently, mental fortitude. And then because of those tools that they're using, they are now creating a different lifestyle for them, and most likely a happier lifestyle for them. This once again shows how self-discipline is important in your life and will lead to a happy life. Next, we have a story about how self-discipline applied to my own life. I've been lifting weights for a long-ish time. I've been lifting weights consistently now for about 2 years. But I really started to get into lifting weights more like 4 years ago. At first, when I was lifting weights, I was kind of inconsistent. I would go on hot streaks and then stop. I would eat whatever I want. I would be inconsistent with my diet. I didn't have a set goal. I didn't have a light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't anything for me that kept me into check. Around the beginning of quarantine, I really hit my stride. I had goals in mind. I had this drive, and that drive would be turned into self-discipline. I started to work out each day and started to see it in a different perspective. I kept at it and made sure to tell myself just one step at a time. I started to pay attention to the smaller things. I started to be more consistent with how I ate. And as I worked out, I slowly lost fat and went from skinny fat to something that I'm more happy about. I got stronger each day, I felt stronger mentally, and I became more confident and just a happier person. This story relates to the theme because it takes a lot of self-discipline and self-control. Lifting weights and making sure to keep my diet in check takes a lot of self-discipline. Because of my self-discipline, I was able to become more confident, stronger, and happier. I'm reaping the reward of my hard work, and I know that there's even more. And to directly connect to the stanza, my life, because of my self-discipline, is closer to true happiness. Next, I'm going to relate self-discipline to a piece of pop culture. The piece of pop culture that I chose was a UFC fighter by the name of Yuri Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka is an MMA fighter out of the Czech Republic. He fights in the light heavyweight division and has a very compelling story. Growing up, Yuri was a very troublesome child. This would continue on into his teenage years, into his young adult years. He described himself as crazy as he would go out on the streets and look for fights. He would pick fights all the time and get in trouble with the law. Eventually, he found out about martial arts and became interested. He found a coach who helped him out and gave him a book called The Book of 5 Rings. After reading this book and continuing to train in martial arts, he found a new self-discipline within him. He found this new calmness and mindfulness that really changed his life. And to quote Yuri, he said, "Calmness and stillness of the mind is the main thing. Our mind is our biggest weapon. If you realize that, then you will practice this. And after practicing for years, my life has changed." Both Yuri and the Gita speak about being in control of your mind. As of now, he's fighting the most elite promotion of MMA fighting, the UFC. He holds a career record of 28 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. Yuri, as a fighter, and his story relates to self-discipline because of self-discipline, his life changed. Because of his own newfound discipline, he was able to reach his highest potential. Currently, he's set to fight the light heavyweight title June 11th. Just look at him. Look at that. Another one? Oh, that's crazy, man. Martial arts requires an incredible amount of self-discipline. It was a crucial time and part of his life to be dedicated to martial arts. And because of his dedication, he's found a job that he loves and he makes a lot of money. And finally, we have a news article. The news article that I'll be relating to self-discipline is about Glover Teixeira, who is also an MMA fighter. His career spans over 20 years. Over his historic career, he's faced a lot of ups and downs. Many of those downs include losing the UFC championship in 2014, being 2-3 at a point in his last 5 fights, and not being able to even come to America because of visa issues. After 2014, where he lost to John Jones, many people in his career thought he was washed. And his next couple of fights would reflect that. Glover would win, then lose, then win, then lose, and many people branded him as a journeyman. But despite all the noise around him, he's made sure to stay disciplined and kept working. Eventually, Glover went on a 7-fight win streak and captured the UFC belt. And in his latest win, he became the oldest ever first-time champ in the UFC. He became a champ at the age of 42. 42, that's like 2.5 times my age. This news article relates to the theme of self-discipline because despite all his shortcomings, all his failures, he continued to work and stay disciplined. To quote the news article and Dana White, Glover Teixeira is and has been one of the toughest guys in the division for a very long time. This was his dream forever to get this title shot. He finally gets it and did it tonight. To have the mental fortitude and to keep on working after being brutally KO'd? Because just look at this clip. Do you think you could get up and fight more after this? I couldn't. From Dana's quote about Glover to Glover's ups and downs in his career, being knocked out, waiting 7 years until he get a second title shot, everything combined together, that takes so much self-discipline to keep on fighting and keep on working. But because of his self-discipline, he was able to find peace within his career by becoming a light heavyweight champion in the UFC. To conclude everything, we see how self-discipline is such a crucial part in someone's life. From my story about lifting, to Yuri's MMA career, to Glover being the oldest champ, to then that photo, we see how self-discipline is all around us. To stay focused and keep consistent is something that can benefit all of us. And being disciplined, just day after day, can truly change someone's life.